Hi guys, and welcome to another informative episode of the Legal Digest. In this channel, we pick random topics about the law in Kenya and have an in-depth discussion over the same. So if this feels like your kind of thing, please feel free to like, subscribe and comment on this video so that you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. So today we are going to talk about off-plan property purchase, and I'll majorly be dealing with the risks that are involved over the same and the importance of having legal counsel before embarking on the business of purchasing an off-plan property in Kenya. So with that, let's dive in today's video. So what is off-plan property purchase and how does it work? So in a nutshell, off-plan property purchase can be described as the purchase of property that is yet to be constructed or is in the process of being constructed. So basically this is where you'll find an investor who intends to construct, say, an apartment or a villa or a bungalow, may come and pitch to clients and market their products or their houses that are yet to be constructed. So basically what the investors will be paying for will be the plan. You'll be making, or you'll be committing to the purchase of the property based on the plan and the expectation that the property is going to be completed and delivered as per the agreement. So we can say that this has a lot of advantages, and one of the advantages that I can say comes with the purchase of off-plan properties is the initial low cost that is required, because typically all you need is just 20 or 40%. At the very most that we have seen is 40% deposit, and the balance can be paid slowly towards as the property is being constructed. So these can be advantageous in a way. Another way these can be advantageous is the aspect of planning, so that if you plan to, say, have be a homeowner, say, in another 10 years, you can take advantage of off-plan property that say can break ground today and has a projection of being completed, say, in another 5 years or so. So we have seen this rapid growth of property, high-rise properties, specifically apartments, that rely on the aspect of off-plan property purchase, and in more often than not, we have seen that this plan works. If you get a reputable company, or if you're dealing with a reputable company, then chances of you being shortchanged is very, very minimal. So in the course of my practice as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, we have come across several issues or several aspects that we have seen that the contracts of off-plan purchase, the loopholes that are there, that are yet to be dealt with, because in the last 2 years or so we have seen an increase in litigation, specifically due to some of the, basically we can say, the terms and conditions, how the contract has been framed, and the lack of diligence we can see both from the investor and the developer. So I'll just briefly talk about three areas that are of focus that need to be thoroughly investigated, and before you embark on the business of purchasing an off-plan property, you need to engage the services of a qualified lawyer so that you can avoid being shortchanged. That is number one. And the second reason is you're going to have that sense of security, knowing that you're dealing with a company that is reputable and that your future investments are in safe hands. So the first risk that is we have typically seen in the legal practice is the question of uncertainty as to when the project is complete. So that if you have committed your money towards the purchase of an off-plan property or an apartment, and you have a legitimate expectation that the apartment will be ready, say within 5 years. So who bears the brunt, or who bears the responsibility if the apartment or the project is not complete within the said 5 years, you see? So a lot of contracts that we have come across are more or less silent when it comes to the issue of liability. So that when you go to court, when it comes to the question of interpretation, you'll find more often than not the investor may suffer losses, because when they entered into the agreement for the purchase of the off-plan property, the issue of uncertainty was not factored in. And we have to understand one thing when it comes to the purchase of off-plan property. A contract for sale of an off-plan property is governed by the law of contract. The law of contract provides and gives parties the freedom to dictate terms and conditions that govern, or rather should govern their relationship. So that if you fail to have adequate representation, or if you fail to get someone who can. So the second aspect that I want to talk about when it comes to the transaction of planned property purchase is the final product that is delivered by the developer not matching the specifics as was initially marketed to the investor. So over the years, we have seen a rise of disputes in court where investors have sued property developers for negligence or breach of contract for delivering property that is not marketed. And if you can remember, I said that a contract for the purchase of an off-plan property is governed by the law of contract. So that if that condition, if the delivery was not clear as to the specifics, say for example you expected the doors to be mahogany, or you expected a specific type of tiles to be used, or you expected, say for example, a specific lighting fixtures, if those are not incorporated in the agreement, then more often than not, and unfortunately, the investor ends up being the ultimate loser, because you were not diligent, you were not careful when you were going through the agreement. Because when it comes to marketing, that is one thing. I can market my product, or the developer can market a product and say that this is their projection, this is what they intend to build, and maybe the outcome will be this, and this will be the type of material that is going to be used. Now, unfortunately, if you as the purchaser are not careful as to have the said marketing terms included in your agreement, then unfortunately you may not have a recourse. So that is another reason why we always insist before embarking on such a serious project, you need to engage the services of a qualified lawyer so that those nitty-gritty issues can be clearly identified and the air cleared before pen is put to paper. Now, the third aspect that we have seen recently in Kenya, as to the purchase of off-plan properties, is companies going into liquidation. Now, this is not news to us. We have seen a lot of companies going into liquidation. Some of them, we are not currently today in the business of mentioning names, but we have seen a lot of winding up cases where investors have lost billions upon billions of shillings for engaging into the. So the final risk that I want to talk about is the possibility of the developer taking a facility, a bank facility, using the property without the knowledge of the investor, the initial investor who may have purchased an off-plan apartment or unit prior to the facility being secured. So that if you construct your agreement or the initial off-plan sale agreement and you fail to incorporate the aspect of who bears the liability or what consent, if at all, is needed uh, before a facility is secured, if the same is not reduced into writing and captured into your contract, then unfortunately the investor typically ends getting the shorter hand of the stick, because the developer, obviously being the legal owner as it is, or the registered proprietor of the property, is going to be assumed as having the capacity of securing a facility with a bank, so that we've seen a lot of clients eventually coming to our chambers complaining that they had initially finished paying off the agreed amount, and then suddenly when they start doing the transfers, they came to the realization that the property, the off-plan property or the completed property now, so to speak, has a facility that was charged without their authority. So I think if before you embark on the purchase of an off-plan property, we need to weigh the pros and the cons, as I have explained, before fully committing towards such an endeavor. So that's going to do it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, as it will really help the channel grow. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to ask them in the comments section, and we will be sure to answer them. Until next time, thank you very much.